Welcome everyone to Nitro Maniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited. It's Kellen Nitro. I was trying to do my best Vince McMahon, and it turned into a Triple H impression right off the top. I'm gonna bring in my guest tonight, the co-host, the man, the myth, the wonder, the Mr. Excitement, Mr.TL. How are you, sir?
That Vince McMahon Triple H thing you just did.
Yeah.
All right.
I could try it again.
Welcome
everyone to Monday Night Raw.
Okay. All right.
Okay, there we go.
We're getting there. We're getting with something.
I guess we got to say welcome back to him because this is the whole topic of the stream here as we jump live on a Sunday night for you on Nitro Maniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited. He's back. That's right. Vince McMahon back as the chairperson at WWE after announcing his retirement over the summer, and thought that he was walking off into the wild blue yonder, as it were, and that stuff amid of a whole myriad of controversy and allegations and potential court cases and this, that, and the other thing. And he's back. As I like to, as my comedy friends have said and that stuff, he actually did a successful January 6th takeover, but he didn't. So
yeah. Okay. Well, let's address the elephant in the room. I'm wearing the same gear as last time, and I'm still behind the bar. You're probably wondering, why are you back there? I never left. I never left being behind the bar. You know what put me here? Wrestling. Wrestling put me behind this bar.
Oh, there we go. We got a little bit of connection through it here.
Oh my! Mr. Nitro is falling apart.
What you were saying there? Yeah.
Are you still falling apart over there? It's
a little bit. I figured out though.
Man, I told you got to get higher than dial-up internet. He really didn't hear that joke. Sad.
He is falling apart. But the information we've got so far from the Vince McMahon Dave wrote about
you're underwater and you're cutting up. We can't hear you and your video stuck. This might be a bit of a problem. Well, folks, sometimes this happens with live podcasting. You never quite know what's going to happen. And now I sit here like Morgan Freeman, waiting for the signal to go back to normal. How was your day today? I'm going to text him on the other side and see what happens. Well, it looks like the show is just me now, narrating your life. I saw a baby husky today. He sounded like a cat. He actually said, mew, mew. But that's not why you're here, are you? You're here for a wrestling podcast. I'm ill-equipped to talk about such things because, as you all know, I'm the casual fan. I used to watch in the 90s and a bit of the 80s when I was alive for that. And I trailed off midway part to the 2000s because my heroes left and wrestling wasn't what it was before. And they were much more open about them being a show and sports entertainment and not being genuine. And so I trailed off. And I do ask you, if you're watching, did you ever trail off and stop watching wrestling? Have you come to the point where you don't watch as much as you used to? Why was that? Why did that happen? If you've lost your passion for professional wrestling, where was the trail off? Where was the jump off? And why? Let me know. Hit me up on Twitter at TMLOUTAN. That's TM Loughton. Because I want the smoke. Always wanted the smoke. And I just want to know what got rid of your passion for wrestling. And on the opposite side of that, for people like Mr. Nitro, what keeps you going? If you are still watching professional wrestling, what keeps you going? I'd really love to know. Because I don't know what got me going anymore. In fact, I'm not. I only know about wrestling things because of Mr. Nitro. He bothers me on my time off. And he tells me something new that's gone on in wrestling that we need to talk about. And I say, please leave me alone. I've left that world behind. I no longer need wrestling. I have very other forms of entertainment, mostly sports related. Why must I go back to 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, and a questionable 1 hour of NXT every week? Every week? And he wants to tag on a whole new company called AEW on top of that. That's 2 more hours every week. It's a lot to ask of people to pay attention to that much professional wrestling. You must really love that source of entertainment to keep such things alive. I wonder how. How does he do it? Why does he do it? I'm going to ask you the same question. 3 viewers. I joke. But let me know. What keeps you involved? What keeps you watching? What stopped you from watching? I'll tell you what it was. It was the day that we couldn't ask the question anymore. Is it real or is it fake? Because it just came right out and said, not real. Broke my heart a little bit. As we just finished the Christmas season, it does remind me of a 4-year-old me realizing Santa wasn't real. I know 4 is really early. My parents just really wanted me to know. They really wanted me to know that they bought those presents. They took their hard-earned money, pooled it together to get their kids some toys on Christmas. Ain't no fat man sitting named Santa Claus coming in giving us free gifts. That came out of their paycheck. And they want us to know it. Oh, so we knew early. Now, that being said, the reality of wrestling. If they would just act like it's real, make me believe again, maybe I'd watch. It is what brings me back every now and then. The believability, the realism. See, a lot of people say the same points over and over again, but they're very much true. You can watch sports all year round. Some sports are 82 games, 84 games. Basketball, hockey. Baseball is up in the hundreds. Football has, 15, 17 weeks, whatever. But you come back game after game. You think it's the same thing, but you see something a little different every time, and you want to know who wins because it matters. When the circus comes in town, Cirque du Soleil for us. Beautiful show. Great show. How often do you watch it? Once a year? Once in a lifetime? Would you want to go back and see that every single day, would you? No. But sports? Oh, sports. Every day. Every day you tune in to see what the result will be. And that's what I think wrestling was missing. That sense that every single time you watch it, something different's going to happen. It's not just wrestling. Or it's not just a show. A different result can happen every single time that can change the dynamic. A new champion, perhaps. A new up-and-comer. The fight, the struggle, the story that is wrestling. And so, I long for those days. And a few people bring it back every now and then. like a CM Punk, and then it gets flushed down the drain by people who want wrestling to be as fake as everything else. Flips and dives that make no sense. Why would you jump to the top rope and wait there for 8 seconds for a person laying on the floor? You could have pinned him in 3 seconds. That's all it takes to win a match. Why? Strange to think about. All right, so we are a few minutes into the show, and I'm continuing to rant just to fill some time. Otherwise, this just would have been dead air. And that's all right. Actually, that's not all right. You did not want to see that. What we did come here to talk about was the reemergence of Vince McMahon in the WWE. He retired back in the summertime. Maybe it was September or something like that. But summer of 2022, the old man at 77 years old finally called it a career. Walked away from the industry that he took from his dad to then squash all of the territories to become the monopoly of professional wrestling in America. He finally passed it on to his son-in-law, Paul Levesque, which we all know as Triple H, the husband of Stephanie McMahon, Vince McMahon's real-life daughter. And he was doing a pretty good job, I thought. It was starting to get a little bit more interesting again. People were starting to pay more attention to the WWE. And now it is but a few days into the new year of 2023. And Vince McMahon's back on the board of directors. Oh, he's back. The man who had just retired when he was 77 is back now at the age of 78. Perhaps to pick up where he left off? Perhaps to erase the things that Triple H is doing? Who knows? I know Mr. Nitro knew a lot more about this than I did. And that's what we were going to talk and just explore what this could mean for World Wrestling Entertainment. What this could mean for wrestling as a whole. Vince McMahon back at the helm of WWE. I was going to save all of this for when Mr. Nitro was back, but I guess I could just talk to you, couldn't I? Why? Why is he coming back? Well, I could have just assumed that he's an old man. This has been his life, all his life, or the meaningful part of his life, and he couldn't go without it. And, you know, that happens. Sometimes when you devote your life to something, you just can't give it up. You can't walk away because it's all that you know. And it's become your identity. It's tough. Because sometimes it is tough to walk away from something that you've built yourself and trust it into the hands of somebody else. You have to really, trust who you're giving it to, but you also have to be okay with walking away from it and make your peace with it. Maybe that's something Vince McMahon just never can do or could do. And now he's back. What could this mean? Could this mean a lot of the people that Triple H picked up in Vince McMahon's absence are going to once again go away? Oh, there were a lot of names, a lot of talent that went to the wayside under Vince McMahon before he retired. I'm talking about guys like Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, a lot of the NXT people, Johnny Gargano, Dexter Lumis, Bronson Reed, Hit Row. And they all came back when Triple H took over. What does their future hold if Vince McMahon comes back into the same role again? Are they all going to leave one more time? Are they just going to slow down their career? Is Triple H going to be able to keep them and further them the way that he's been doing? Hard to tell. Only time will tell. And that's the funny part. Vince McMahon is not the big proponent of time. He wants things done now. I think there's some kind of quote that says, if you think you should do it next week, it should have been done last week. I literally think I read that in Jericho's book, the first two, I think. Little tangent there. I've read 3 of his books. I didn't buy the 4th one because the 3rd one started to get pretty lame. Pretty awful. First book was great. The 2nd one, not so much. The 3rd one, how about you? Any of you read those wrestling biographies? Or watch the documentaries, the ones that WWE produces, or A&E, or Vice, Dark Side of the Ring, independent, or by the company themselves. Some of those are very interesting. Take you behind the scenes of wrestling, gives you a better perspective.
Hello.
Add to the story. Hello.
That was fun. I've never been booted out of my own stream before in my life, and that was a first. So there we go.
Good sir, I've been ranting like a madman for the past 15 minutes to fill time.
Well, the local record is also on as well too, so that may or may not be a separate video later in the week. So we'll see what happens once I take a look at it. So, but anyways, where was I? What kind of grinds your gears about this? I guess is it would be my first question. Where should we start with looking at, Vince coming back in? Is it the hostile takeover? Is the way it was constructed, the way it went down? Is it the fear of him coming back in as a creative, as the creative yes no guy, or what?
Kellen?
Yes.
I've just been talking about this for the last 15 minutes. I have nothing left to bear. It's all out there. My soul.
Okay. Well, then I'll force the question onto myself here. That's about it.
I got nothing left.
Fair enough.
Good night, everybody.
I'm just going to dial up where's my global article that I was going to look at? There we go. So this is the article from Michelle Chapman at Global News. This was posted on January 6th from the Associated Press / Global News. She basically just sums up the entire thing. Vince McMahon is rejoining the board of WWE several months after he retired from the sports entertainment company during an investigation into a WWE said Friday that McMahon, the founder and majority shareholder of WWE, would and also announce a board shakeup. Shares more than 22% TL at closing. I think it was what was it, $86, something like that. I know, it's insane, and I think I lost connection again. Damn it! I don't know.
Well, you are breaking
that
up
again.
quite a bit.
Hey, we're back. Yeah. So
Dude.
My connection again when I try to open the article. I'm not going to read any more of the article. How's that? That's it.
I told you got to get off 56K, man.
Top of my memory instead. Okay. Yeah. There. But that's
I'm gonna end up
again. I think the internet long.
Oh no.
Stream. It all depends on how this all goes. But platformed on music, we might be able to doctor something there. I tell you what, I am just going to end the stream or something and seeing if that works or anything. So you can hit him on Twitter at TL, or yeah, right. I'm Kellen Nitro. And let's see if the buttons work. The button. All right. But anyway, later days. Happy wrestling watching. We're going to try. Oh, that's terrific. I got this page just responding. Wait. Try.
Oh my, he's left me live and still recording. Okay. Well, if you didn't hear that, he said we're going to stop this recording as of pretty soon. We're going to try this up again and yeah, have another crack at this. So, if we don't see you again, happy wrestling, happy watching. Get us on Twitter, Mr. Kellen himself, Mr. Nitro, and me, Mr. TL at TMLOUTAN on Twitter. And yeah, we'll see you next time, I hope.
Hey, everybody, after that technical interruption, we're right back with you. I'm Kellen Nitro. Joining me on the other end of the digital tin cannon string is Mr. TL. We're doing it old school, doing it through the old school Zoom here this evening, this afternoon, this morning, depending on when you're watching this. Sorry for leaving you out to hang there, TL, but it was the internet gods that weren't in my favor.
10 minutes. For 10 minutes. I talked to a computer screen.
Which was the first chunk of the video that you're seeing was his entire monologue and that stuff and everything on this. Now we get to the back and forth talky bit. I want to bring up the article that's on globalnews.ca right now. You can go and check it out. It was posted on January 6th by Michelle Chapman from the Associated Press. And the headline: Vince McMahon returns to WWE after misconduct investigation. Vince McMahon is rejoining the board of WWE several months after he retired from the sports entertainment company during an investigation into an alleged misconduct. WWE said Friday that McMahon, the founder and majority shareholder of WWE, would return as an executive chairman. It also announced a board shakeup. Shares surged more than 22%. Mr. TL. In fact, the shares for WWE, it being a publicly traded company right now, closed at $86 on Friday.
That's pretty good.
Which is a high mark. I think it's the highest it's been the past 2 years or something like that.
That's pretty good for one share in the company is 86.
Yeah, exactly. And so and Vince is still the majority shareholder. So he fixing to cash in depending on who buys WWE. So
yeah. So it makes me wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he planned this just to be like, as soon as I beat all these legal issues, I'll jump right back in?
Well, I think so. He hasn't even beat all the legal issues and he's right back in. I think this is right to his plan. I think he figured, okay, I'm going to wait until the stove is off in the kitchen, shall we speak? Let the roast cool down on the table a little bit, and then I'm gonna come back and have me a dinner. That's what I'm gonna do. And that's what he says. That's what he's faking. So,
how many analogies did you just fit in there?
Quite a bit, actually. I think I'm traumatized from earlier. That's why. But no, seriously, I think he legit. This is the textbook. Okay, when it gets too hot, get out of the kitchen or the room that's on fire, and then come back and come in. The thing is just, oh man, it's got me spitting analogies like nobody's business here.
Oh my god!
But you know what I'm saying.
When the kettle's on the heat and it starts to boil, you got to turn off the whistle before you brew that tea.
Yeah.
What the fuck? And now he's just sipping back and he's adding his cream and sugar is what's going on.
Mm.
The fuck are you talking?
I'm gonna go back to the article and explore it further here. McMahon
retired.
Mention... McMahon. No, go for it. Yeah.
Oh God.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just wanted to mention to those who don't understand, Global News is not a fake source.
No,
it actually is a legit news content provider for Canada nationally. We have, I think it's 4 or 5. So like how in America they would have their basic channels of NBC, ABC, Fox,
CBS, blah blah blah.
CBS. There we go.
Yeah.
In Canada, it would be like CTV, Global, CBC, City TV.
Yeah, which is Rogers.
Nationals.
Rogers, basically. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Global is like a legit source for news from Canada. Yeah. So no, this is not a made up one.
And this story was everywhere throughout the weekend on everything. Like, I just happened to have the Global News article right in front of me, but this was all over CBC. This was all over CTV. This was all over Sportsnet, Rogers, you name it. They were covering
CBS, NBC, BBC, LMNOP. Oh, it doesn't matter.
Sorry. What we're saying is the legit news. We're not dealing with Dave Meltzer dirt sheet stuff here. This is legit.
Exactly.
Stuff.
This came in the news. This was in the news.
So they show in a Global article here the infamous Vince McMahon tweet from July 22nd. At 77, time for me to retire. Thank you, WWE Universe. Then, now, forever together. Hashtag WWE. Hashtag thankful. We thought that was at the time him just being nice, but he seems to have taken this then, now, forever together thing a little seriously because he's back. So
yeah. And like I said, is this just all a part of, hey, let me just I don't want to do any more food analogies the kitchen, but it's just I'll stay out of the way until all of this legal issue heat dies down, and I'll come right back. Just keep my seat warm, Triple H, and I'll be right back.
The Stamford, Connecticut.
Did he really retire?
Yep.
I was going to say, did he really actually retire and realize, oh shit, this has been my life and this is all I identify myself as. I can't do anything else. Oh, and also my grandkids are probably in their 20s. They don't want to see Grandpapa anymore. So what the hell am I going to do with my spare time? And had no choice but to come back because, he just wants to die in his office booking a match between Ricochet and who gives a shit.
First of all, I think his grandkids might be early teens, so I don't think they're in their 20s as of yet, but they're at the age where probably what Grandpa's doing on a day-to-day basis isn't as important as the new Harry Styles album or something like that is out. But anyway, the what else off of that there? It's totally a thing where he was brought up in it. Has been surrounded by it for so long, and that sometimes and we see this in media all the time with aging news personalities and show hosts and stuff like that, where they have 30-45 years put into their career, then all of a sudden they're done, and it's a forced retirement or something, and then where are they 6 months later? They're at another station somewhere doing something else because they have name value, right? And that's it. And it's the whole thing. He is the lead shareholder. This is all of his shares going into this whole media, the potential media purchase. He holds all the cards. And as I was saying earlier, if shares are topping out at about $85, $86, $87, with speculation that once trading starts again up here early this week and that stuff, we could hit $104, $105 for WWE stock per share. And this is from very reputable people who speculate on that type of stuff. Why wouldn't you come back at that point? I think it's just the way it happened and the day it happened. It is what's weirding everybody out. Is that he came back and kind of just turfed 2 or 3 people off of the board that existed, and brought back in George Barrios is one, and then another person that had been the 2 people that he brought in are McMahon loyalists from years ago. And that's that have been on the board for a long time, and then they got let go by Nick Khan back in 2021 or so when they were doing the pandemic cuts and stuff. So Vince brought it in himself and these two people and put them on the board, and he got rid of 3 other people. The only to make room. The only thing that's real shady about that is one of the guys that he got rid of was the guy who's leading the internal investigation on the misappropriation of funds. So,
Oh, really?
yes.
That's not shady and a half.
Yeah, no, it doesn't seem shady at all, right? But
No, not at
that's the only
all.
dark cloud over that I can see right now is this kind of like, oh, you have this information, okay, see ya. Now it doesn't matter anymore. They went to his
Yeah,
office and used
exactly.
a
Just
paper
make
shredder.
the
They're probably doing that this weekend here. So
yeah, exactly. So yeah. Now is this going to affect the product at all?
so there's 2 lines of thought with this. If we are to believe what has been written in the news and what's been reported so far in the news, and going into this weekend and that stuff, it seems that Nick Khan, Stephanie McMahon, and Paul Levesque, Triple H, are still going to be maintaining their roles with WWE. And Vince's return is basically as chairman. So he is hands off. The way it's been explained to me is he is hands off of the creative right now, as it stands. He is
Sure.
absolutely hands off.
Uh-huh.
And um yeah, that's what it is.
I'll
And of course, yours is the second line of thought, which is one that I kind of lean towards. It's like, okay, he's hands off until he watches TV one night and doesn't like what he sees.
yeah, that's what I figure. I'm like, hey, Braun Strowman's going to go back on the unemployment list pretty soon.
Braun Strowman's going back to control your narrative, the Trump
Yeah.
Wrestling Organization.
Jeez.
Yeah, but I mean, that's it's such an open-ended question. And that's the fear that everybody has right now is he going to become the okay, everybody's got to run it by Vince guy again, leading into a sale? I hope
Right.
not, because I think that they've even taken in the 6 months that he's been gone, they've taken the small steps of kind of emerging out of that a little bit. I mean, there's been some hiccups. The Mandy Rose thing is one, and then maybe one or two other hiccups along the way here out of that. But for most of the fall into the winter, the stuff was trending upwards. The on screen product, I thought that the creative, I was bullish on it at first after seeing what I saw come out of SummerSlam, but towards the end of the year I kind of softened a little bit and that stuff because they still were kind of floating, kind of the tried and true WWE tropes a little bit with their programming as they were starting to creep back in again. But those tropes became kind of less and less, and the shows, especially Raw, became more and more about the wrestling. I found is that there's more matches, less promos, stuff like that. Uh it's going to be awful tough because now we're getting into Royal Rumble season, and then after that it's Road to WrestleMania. So whose WrestleMania vision are we going to see this year? Are we going to see the Triple H, Nick Khan, Stephanie McMahon version of WrestleMania, or are we going to see, nope, this is Vince McMahon's baby, so this is going to be his version of WrestleMania?
Yeah, we're going to see Vince McMahon's version of WrestleMania. The Weeknd will be performing another song, and
they just pick one
bring...
off of his album each time. That's about it.
Yeah, exactly. Pick a 4-year-old song off that album, and yeah, I honestly, but in all honesty, I don't know what they're going to do. Nobody knows.
No,
we have a good idea because it's Vince McMahon that he's just going to fuck everything up because he does.
Yeah.
I like the way they were going under Triple H. I kind of wanted to see where this was going to go. And with Vince McMahon there, you kind of don't want to watch because you're like, okay, the train crash is coming. Maybe I'll duck this time.
Yep, exactly. For sure. That's better. All right, cool. Yeah, no, it's because we know where it's been with Vince, and we kind of know where things have gone in the past with Triple H, where with the NXT stuff, and how that stuff at one time had a bunch of promise with it, and now it depends on what really happens going forward off of that. But yeah, it's weird. It's wild. It's something that I'm not sure who's going to win and who's going to come off the top of this and that stuff. But when they were talking about, I'm going to try and open up my Twitter here because I found a tweet from somebody the other night that it's down to 8 for who's going to purchase WWE as a whole. Down to 8 media properties right now. And somebody did the list. And these are what all the major all the major companies, all the major news outlets and that stuff have as their list of 8 so far. Or did I like it? I did not like it, I don't think. Oh shoot. Okay. I don't like it. But I didn't like it. All right. I thought I did like it, but I guess I did not. All right. Well, whatever. All right. Off the top of my mind, so you have NBC Universal in there, which is under the Comcast label. So if you see anybody talk about Comcast with this, that's in there. So you have Comcast, you have Fox obviously involved in this. You have Amazon, you have Netflix, you also have there was another couple of notables in there. The same company that did the purchase a few years ago of UFC as well. I can't remember their exact name, but they're involved in this too as a potential buyer, which would be very interesting to see UFC and WWE under the same umbrella, how that would work out. But and there's a couple of others in there too. But basically, your top media companies in the States and your top streaming companies are going head to head for WWE right now. So and it's not going to be a split deal where one gets television rights and then the other one gets, all the streaming exclusives and that stuff. If they go to Amazon, if they go to Netflix, then that's where you're going to be watching Raw and SmackDown every week and premium live events and you name it. Whereas if they go to NBC Universal or Fox, that's where you're going to be watching Raw and SmackDown and potentially premium live events going forward. It's not a split deal. It's going to be a one shot deal each time.
Yeah, exactly. And from the sounds of it, I'm thinking it's most likely they say Disney wants the property.
That's another one that was mentioned was Disney. Yes.
And I think it's just because they want to bolster their library because they really want to push against like the Netflixes and Amazon Primes to have a stronger library and archive that they can, put up on their streaming service for people to enjoy.
Well, and Disney owns ABC and ESPN.
Yes.
So, those are 2 huge media partners or 2 huge media footprints, I should say, in the US right now. So yeah, they flat out own, ESPN and ABC. So obviously from a content standpoint, you're going to want something that you can run, and kill 3 hours on a Monday night or 2 hours on a Friday or something. That's first run, that's live.
What I wonder is, because I remember when the UFC was sold, it was gone. It went from Zuffa to I forget who. And I thought that would be like the end of Dana White, but he ended up staying on and is still the face of that company.
Yes, that was a condition of the sale.
Right. So I was wondering, I'm like, is that going to happen with the WWE as well, where either Triple H or Vince McMahon stays on? I don't know.
Could be. We could see that.
Does Disney? Well, we're saying Disney, but does Disney know anything about wrestling? Or are they going to do like what TBS and TNT did to WCW, where they put a Jim Herd in place, and you're like, "What the hell are you doing?"
And the way WWE's creative has been the past, half decade or so, that would be like the last thing you'd want to see happen from WWE going forward. Yeah, somebody bumbling like Jim Herd. That's nuts.
Oh, so someone who just doesn't know a lick about wrestling, and they put him in there because he managed a Domino's Pizza or something.
Yeah, well, it remains to be seen. It's definitely an earth-shaking movement for sure, and we'll keep tabs on this. And then once the decision goes down, it could have a decision as early as, who knows, like the end of the month or something, or it could be something, that stretches out throughout 2023, but going on. And that was the big thing, is that I was kind of waiting to do a year in review with you on WWE stuff. And if we did that, I was going to jump on that as being the lead story from WWE this year, was Vince McMahon finally stepping down and a whole younger movement taking over the company and pushing forward with it and that stuff. But now that has been completely blown out of the water because it's a twist. And so it's, well, now we just wait and see who all still has jobs at the end of this thing and who doesn't.
And that's the thing that's interesting to me, is the talent. Because at this point, before Vince McMahon jumped back in and Triple H was, at the helm, Helmsley, a lot of wrestlers wanted to come back to WWE on that reputation that, hey, Vince is gone, we got one of the boys in here, and also one of the guys that helped us a lot in NXT.
Right.
You had people wanting to come back, and people who were in the purgatory of, TNA, they wanted to be like, oh, we can maybe go back to WWE and not have to go to AEW or something.
Yeah.
And now you got Vince McMahon coming back. Where does the talent sit? Because you have talent now within WWE being like, Johnny Gargano is like, oh shit, here we go. He's going to dump me on my ass again.
Well, Tegan Knox. That's another one too. Yeah. There was
Strowman, Bray Wyatt.
Yep.
You're supposed to say what? I'm just kidding.
Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman. Yeah.
Hit Row.
Yeah. Exactly.
Candice LeRae. Io Shirai.
What? Yeah.
There you go. You caught on.
What? Yeah. No, it is. I mean, there are a bunch of people that would be deemed as Triple H guys or girls that he has brought back in. And it was smart at the time for him to do so. Now it's like, okay, this is a little creepy, a little weird.
The Good Brothers.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Bronson Reed.
Yep.
Dexter Loomis. The list goes on of the NXT people. Yeah, so the talent is all like, probably, what the hell have we gotten ourselves into here?
So it's been reiterated to the talent, at least on the SmackDown side on Friday. They had an all hands on deck meeting at SmackDown, and the talent has and it had been reported by wrestling observers and stuff like that the talent was told during this meeting that nothing should change, creative wise or anything. Nobody's losing their jobs, blah 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 blah, the typical, so remains to be seen whether that's going to be the truth or not. I just think that, okay, the annual post-Mania cuts in April are going to be very interesting from WWE, because it's going to be, again, another flux of wrestlers that literally just got their jobs back, a good 6 months ago or so, or over the last 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. So, but in any case, this is just going to be a wait and see kind of thing. Yeah, let's see how far Vince McMahon touches the product, or if he just doesn't.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. A couple of quick other hitters I want to hit on with you here that aren't necessarily Vince McMahon related. Did you see Mercedes Moné's debut in New Japan this week at all? And if you did, what was your thoughts of it?
Okay, so she's now going with Mercedes Moné.
Yeah.
Or Money? I don't really know.
Moné. It's got the little thing over top of the E.
It does, but her theme song, she says money. So, like, I don't even know. Money. Does she know? I hate her theme song. That's the first one I start with.
So
I hate that theme song. It sounds like Crisscross Jump. Boom,
okay.
Boom,
so
boom, money. Boom, chicka boom, chicka boom. Money. Boom, chicka boom, chicka boom.
So there is a
boom, chicka boom, chicka boom. Money.
Shut the fuck up. There is a precedent here. New Japan is much like WWE, where they will create their own music for their stars and have that as exclusive music. So what we hear in New Japan may not necessarily be her music going forward.
I see.
Like, so there's rumor that she has signed this week with AEW as well. So AEW might have a completely different track set aside for her.
I've heard that was not true.
Okay.
About AEW.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. So okay,
Anywho,
so we'll suppose then if she does sign with AEW, in that case, if it wasn't true, then AEW has their own music person, that stuff that will probably come up with their own stuff. But New Japan, the majority of the New Japan roster basically uses New Japan music that is exclusive to New Japan, if that makes sense.
I truly hate that if that's what New Japan thinks a female wrestler with hip hop should sound like, that it goes all the way back to Jump by Crisscross. How far behind the times are they?
It's the Japanese trying to interpret American culture. That's
I
what that
know, and they
is.
went with Crisscross. Listen, um, I love Sasha Banks.
Mm-hmm.
She is my wifey.
Yeah.
Always will be. Mercedes Monet got a lot to prove to me, though. There's a difference. Mercedes Monet has very different hair, what looks like some kind of
the flame job
printing flame thing in her. Okay, the costume is dope, but it also made no sense because she wasn't coming out to a match.
Yeah, but she's wore a cat suit like that on SmackDown when she's confronted somebody in the past too, and that stuff, right?
But I feel like she should have come out a little bit more like the boss, like business gangsta sassy, especially since she wasn't going to fight. But she came out full, I'm ready to wrestle with no match.
Right.
I think Booker T said it, and I don't like agreeing with him, but he is kind of right on this one. This would have had so much more of an impact had she done it in Japanese.
Ah, okay.
I mean, I feel like the crowd majority either don't know English or they don't know what she said,
yeah,
or they can't hear her or whatever. It came off very flat and anticlimactic.
And the fact that she tried to roll out a new finisher as well, and Kyrie just forgot how to take the bump on that, didn't really help things either. So,
yeah, I mean, they called it a botch. I'm like, well, I mean, she hit the ground. I kind of get it. I see.
Yeah.
I'll accept it. It is what it is. But I mean, that promo that she cut, she should have, if she could have done it in Japanese, would have been so much better. You mentioned it. This would have been a match that would have been like a 3-minute thing on a SmackDown somewhere or Raw.
Yeah. Second hour of Raw, basically.
Right. But if you give them 20 minutes, that's definitely a headliner because both of them have the talent to do so. Do they have the communication to pull this off? That's going to be the big tell.
Exactly, for sure.
And that'll be a feather in the cap of Sasha Banks if she can pull it off.
Well, we won't have to wait long to find out because they are booked for February, I think, 21st in San Jose, California. So it'll be a very North American friendly crowd. Kyrie, the former Kyrie Sane in WWE, is the IWGP Women's Champion right now for New Japan. And she's going to be defending the belt against Mercedes Monet at the San Jose Convention Center, not the Shark Tank. I've been asked about this a few times before. It's not the Shark Tank; it's the Convention Center. They're two different buildings, so it's a
much
smaller building. But AEW has been running smaller buildings since they've launched too. So it's it's not a it's just a smaller crowd. That's it.
And also, San Jose is Bayley country.
Yes.
I'm not sure if that plays any difference or if Bayley will actually be allowed to attend.
Well, Bayley was over there for Wrestle Kingdom. She was in a luxury box with Samurai Del Sol and a bunch of other either ex WWE talent or current WWE talent as well as guests of FTR of all teams. So there we go.
Yeah, and you know what? I think if this goes over well, this is a big step for women's wrestling. It gives them another place to go to at least, if not ply their craft, to learn their craft.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's hope this can actually start a revolution overseas where more women can learn to wrestle in front of a big stage.
Exactly.
Because AEW ain't doing it. AEW ain't doing it. WWE has had the same kind of a roster for a while now. So let's see if we can get some fresh talent coming out of a fresh area under someone as experienced and as good as Sasha Banks.
Yes, it's a great time. It's a lot of time. It's renewed my interest in New Japan because I really enjoyed Wrestle Kingdom this year from top to bottom, and I really enjoyed the night after New Year's Dash as well, which was a complete. What they did there was a mystery vortex, which was nobody knew what the card was going into that show for New Year's Dash. And it had Raw after Mania vibes to it, which was kind of pretty cool. So it was a lot of fun. And we ended up with Omega and Okada as a tag team in the main event, which was mind blowing. It was like, oh my god, that's like it's like the Leafs and the Habs suiting up on the same team or something like that to me. Like the rivalry there is just
let's
insane.
keep it in the realm of wrestling. That would be like Stone Cold and The Rock tagging on Raw after they had a main event together.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be like the night after WrestleMania 17, the Stone Cold and The Rock, tagging up with Vince McMahon in their corner or something. And it's like, what the hell? But anyways,
who did they face? Who did Okada and Omega face?
So Omega's still working a program with Will Ospreay right now in the United Empire, and so it sounds like Jeff Cobb from the United Empire is next in line for Omega's IWGP US title. So the main event was Okada and Omega versus Jeff Cobb and Aaron Hanare, who is a former New Zealand All Blacks rugby player, and they are both members of the United Empire. And as was mentioned, Okada and Omega teaming together for the first time, and it was a fun match. It was a lot of fun. It was a good match, and then at the end, Okada and Omega got the 1-2-3 count on Hanare, but Cobb came back in and attacked Okada. Omega saved Okada, and then Cobb and Omega kind of stared off one another. So we're either going to get a U.S. title, IWGP U.S. title match on AEW TV or on New Japan TV. If it does happen in New Japan, I'm thinking that that's probably going to be the semi-main for Battle in the Valley in San Jose.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
So there we go.
I still wish Okada would get at least one run in America.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Just so people can get the idea of like, hey, this guy's not bad. Mm-hmm. He's pretty great.
Exactly, for sure. So I'm looking at our time, and we got 5 minutes left before this meeting runs out. So throw your socials out there quick. Where can they follow you?
TMLUTAN, I want the smoke.
Yes, I'm Kelly Nitro. Thanks for sticking with us through the technical difficulties earlier and that stuff. But if you're watching this on demand, it all went smoothly. So hey, there we go. So we remain to be seen what happens with Vince and WWE. We remain to be seen what happens with money. In New Japan, money, and a few other things. So we'll catch you next time here on Nitro Maniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited. Take care.